So, for those who I haven't met before, my name is Paul. I'm a principal fellow here at the University of Melbourne, professor at large. I live in the US, and also I'm currently the vice president of because actually I had run my own workshop just across the way. But some thoughts on what the topic was since I read through what we were going to cover today. And this goes back to a workshop I was in, and I think Tim McFarlane and Ray may recall from David Forbes a couple of years back when we were talking about post-traumatic stress disorder of drone pilots in the US Air Force. You might remember that one? Okay. And we had a bit of discussion after that whether we advanced technology in such a way that the human in the loop became the limiting factor. In the case of implantables and wearables, enhancements, things like that, that could be both physically and psychologically. So are we starting to now see things like maybe a cognizant stress disorder, a fear of expectation or the unknown? I'm wearing this device. What is it going to do to me? What's the expectation on me now to perform to a different level, having been enhanced and stuff? So we may actually see a psychological disorder, I'll call it, or trait come through as we get more experience of humans being implanted with wearables and stuff like that. So I think we should watch this space. There's also a state of invincibility, superhero mentality where having now been enhanced, I can do anything, and assuming we're not interfering with my thought processes but my physical body, I may be pushing where I become careless and reckless. Okay, so I think on the other end of the spectrum, we would have maybe a fear of the unknown, but on the other one, a sense of recklessness and carelessness having now been enhanced with these devices. So I say, have we now gone far beyond C3? And C3, I think most of us recognise as command, control and communications. And maybe we are fast approaching C9 or beyond. And just to give you my thoughts on that, in a human condition context, command, control and communication are pretty much the same. If we're now putting implants in, it's a matter of time before we have external people commanding and controlling those, which means that we now have external influences on our behaviour. And obviously communication has got to communicate into that. So that raises the question of security. Can all this stuff now I've got inside me and other people manipulating and working with me, can that be hacked? And therefore, like brain-computer interfaces and stuff like that, we know already that there has been attempts, and it's vulnerable from work done from people at the University of Washington State, for instance, it's a big concern about BCIs being hackable. Well, if they are, and other things like drones and things like that, then implants have the potential to be hacked as well. And I'm just throwing things out here as thoughts that we need to be looking at. Okay, so capability, a new challenge for ethics. What is it we're actually trying to do with these implants? Is it to enhance, as we said before, the ability to survive in the wild without water or to walk long distances without rest? Or is it to become sort of more of a superhero, to be tracked, to become a super spy, to be able to covert operations? What is the capability that we're trying to build through using implants in a military context? Okay. Having decided what we want to do, what's the capacity condition of the human vehicle, platform, infrastructure? What was the word we used before? I think it was, I think you had it RE in one of yours, was the human appliance was the word. So, okay, we can, an athlete can take drug enhancing drugs to make them run faster and jump higher and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, the body has a physical limitation on its condition. You know, muscle tone, for instance, like that. Yes, with a drug you can get a little bit of a steroid and enhanced fix that gets you by for a while, but if we're now talking about implantables and ubiquitous devices and wearables and stuff like that, we need a body, or the appliance needs to be in a condition to realise the capability, really, if we're going to be successful. So it's not just a technical solution, there's got to be a body solution that matches the technical solution if we're going to achieve really the outcome or the capability from a military context that we're looking for. Okay, consideration, consequence. Okay, here I'm talking about where the human appliance has a brain, and also we have to work out what consideration consciousness that person has of the devices they've got in them, and to whether that's a good match. I suppose I'm really talking about there. I'm not going to go into detail, I'm rushing through this. There's a compromise. Obviously, if this person has some say in it, there's a freedom to exercise judgment, or are we actually overriding that through a BCI, implantable, to say, no, you're not allowed to think this, you've just got to do what you're told. Right? So we have a compromise in there somewhere of the command control versus the human appliance's ability to make its own decision based on what it's got. Confidence. Here I say confidence is in oneself, and it goes back to the vulnerability or the superhero mentality. So I have to have confidence in my ability to perform the capability based on my capacity to do so to the mission that I've been given these implants and these wearables to do. So that's a psychological element that we have to consider, and I consider that as confidence. But also that has to be not only myself, but it's in the technology. Is it foolproof? Is it hackable? Is it going to get me to do things and put me in danger I really don't want to be in, even though my confidence in my command, confidence in the manufacturer, confidence in technology in the background. So these are other things. And of course, etc., etc. We can go on as we start to delve into the layers, peeling back the onion, if you like, of what does implants, not only in the military context, but in humans overall. Okay, so are we talking about the emerging age of the human robot? And I didn't mean this to be animated, but we'll do it. Okay, the human robotic soldier. Okay, so if we go to the extremes of implantables and go back to command and control and almost treat a human now as a drone, but a person who actually has muscle tissue and blood and a heart and lungs, how far do we go? And that's the ethical question. Enhancement, and I'm now starting to introduce the word manipulation here. We talked about enhancement and disenhancement. Really, we're manipulating a human being versus the level of human autonomy, the decision, the ability to make a decision. And all these are great ethical questions, but they're not beyond our technology capability. Voluntary, involuntary. Okay, so this again is back to the level of human autonomy. I have voluntary. Accept these implants being put into my body to do a certain mission, but there could be the opportunity to produce a command or an activity that I have no say or control over, and that's then involuntary, that I'm going to be asked to do something or forced to do something. Detectable, undetectable. If we're talking about covert spy operations and stuff like that, we put implants so we can track and we can probably listen. We have some devices. Is this detectable by our forces, or is it undetectable, or is it detectable by the by our opposition, by insurgencies and stuff like that? So, it's okay to say we've got this and we can track somebody, but it needs to be undetectable, in a military situation to our enemies. So let's get back to the cyber security stuff again. And that though, what are the other applications and the ethics and national security applications that come with them? Particularly in scales or in terms of scale of manageability and legal accountability of actions, which brings back in the legal argument which we had this afternoon, which I wasn't able to see on. And particularly, as we know, with a lot of things that go through the space program or the military program, eventually they end up in the public space. Okay, and so that's sort of some of the thoughts that I'm thinking about when we do this. So basically, that was my very quick closing remarks. Some things to think about. that I hope touched on pretty much what we spoke about. I know we did earlier this morning, and hopefully some of the other comments and thoughts I put up there you also discuss sometime this afternoon. If not, maybe that's meet for another workshop.
Take two.
So thanks very much, and I hope you all enjoyed the workshop, and congratulations to Tina on organising
and Jai, Rob, Michael and the team. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.